This comment goes on a little bit further, and I want to show you the whole comment so that we can have an honest and earnest discussion about everything he has to say, okay? This is obviously in regard to abortion. Now, this is, as you can tell, in part of a grander conversation, but this comment I found interesting. Well, if you pull the plug on a human being, they don't have a chance. Okay, I'm just trying to understand the difference, and nobody seems to have a good answer. Why is it okay to play God and end someone's life, an actual human being, but a fetus or an embryo for that matter? We don't have that right to choose. So without getting nasty and being, you fucking you dumbass, let me just have an honest debate with you here. And I know it's not a debate because we're not speaking like in a live manner. I think one of the fundamental differences that we have is the way we view things. You view an embryo, a fetus, as a living human being. We do not. I won't say we. I do not. I view the fetus that is inside the mother's body as a parasitic element until it's born. And just to show you that this is not hyperbole, I have a little bit more than 2-month-old grandson. So the most recent member of our family was born just a couple of months ago. 3-4 months ago, that grandson of mine was a parasitic element in his mother's body. He was not a human being. And I know that people on your side of the political aisle, on your side of the philosophical aisle, are going to say, I can't believe you say that. Believe it. Because until that baby is born, it is part of another human being's body. In the way I look at it, no different than any other living part of their body. Can the mother chop off her own arm? That's full of cells, living human cells. And we would look at her and go, well, that's crazy, but yeah, you can chop off your own arm if you want to. Why? She's killing all of those human cells, all of that human DNA. As long as it's part of her body, it's her choice. Now, people can make an argument when it comes to late-term abortions and say, well, the baby is essentially developed, and if you took it out of the mother's body, it would survive on its own, so to speak. It would survive as much as any other human baby would survive. And we can have that conversation. I understand that it is a far more developed being. It is still inside of somebody else's human body, living off of that host body. But I would also argue that that's why there are so few late-term abortions performed. And when they are performed, it's for an extraordinary reason. So that really brings us back to the original argument that the Republicans and the conservatives want to make, which is, well, life begins at conception. And so they want to go back to this early embryonic stage and say that that's a human being. But they don't want to grant that human being any of the human being rights, right? Now, we can have the conversation about how you can't take a life insurance policy out on an embryo. They won't let you do that. Or a baby isn't considered 21 at 21 years of age if it's also considered a human being for the 9 months while it's in utero. And we can have all of those weird and funny and silly conversations. But let's take a look at a very serious case of Republicans, hardcore anti-abortion Republicans, arguing that fetuses are not human beings and do not have human being rights. The state of Texas argued that very thing in a court of law when they were being sued. A prison guard in Texas was pregnant, having complications, and needed to go to a doctor while on her shift. They refused to let her go. She had complications from the pregnancy and lost the pregnancy. She then sued the state of California for the loss of her pregnancy, and the state of California argued in that court case that the baby was not born yet, therefore it doesn't have human rights. I think it's a fundamental difference in how we look at it. And as far as the terminology playing God, we play God every goddamn day. If, for example, I don't believe in God, but let's just assume for a moment he exists. Well, then God made me so that I can't see very well. I have 2400 vision. This is playing God. Every tattoo somebody gets is playing God. Every time you go to the doctor, you're playing God. Because you're using science to alter whatever God's plan is. nature, right? Or are we not looking at that as God's plan now? And at the end of the day, if I could be so bold, you're not the one that's pregnant. So it's not your choice. You say we don't get that choice. My friend, there ain't no fucking we here, man. You and I can't get pregnant. So who the fuck is we in this conversation? We don't have a say because it's not our body. They get to say. And if that's what they say, that's what they get. Just like you and I want to have that same autonomy over our bodies, right?